When was the last time that someone ripped you off? If it takes you more than 2 seconds to figure out the answer, then you're on the wrong track. Let me help you and rephrase the question. When was the last time that you purchased something from ARA? Almost all students would agree that ARA is overcharging us, yet nobody does anything to actively promote a change in the situation. Except for one article called "Dollars to Donuts, Prices Too High," published in the All Gold and Black by Andy Ferguson this past January, the never considered under a serious perspective, and always remain more as a naive, childish complaint of the students. Well, I believe that we, as students, have both the right and the power to get better service, and action should be taken. I've been doing a lot of research in collaboration with Dr. John Wood in the Department of Economics and Ryan Bifulco, one of his students, and we have indisputable evidence that things are not going the way they should. I will show you why, how, and how much ARA is taking advantage of us, and what we should do to change it. Now, the first and most important thing that we all have to realize is that ARA takes advantage of its monopoly on campus. A survey conducted by Dr. Wood shows that 30% of Wake Forest students do not have a car, and therefore they cannot go off campus to eat whenever they want. But also consider that even if you do have a car, it would be very inefficient and time-consuming for you to leave the campus every time you want something to eat. Don't you think so? ARA thinks so, but evidently they don't think it's enough. They even want to have more power, more control. And so they require all freshmen to purchase at least a $985 meal plan. Now I want you to ask yourselves, is it right that if a student wants to come to Wake Forest, he or she will be forced to eat ARA's food? Do you see any possible valid justification for that other than ARA's hunger for our money? But that's not it. ARA does not only have the monopoly on food, but also the monopoly on soap, deodorants, toothbrushes, batteries, films, textbooks. Because all textbooks are traded through ARA. Go to the bookstore and ask if you don't believe me. In other words, if we need something, we are very likely to need it from ARA. As a result of this situation, ARA is able to set pretty much whatever prices they want, and we cannot do anything but accept them. Now, as you can see, ARA is not being very competitive in setting prices. But that makes perfect sense because competition on campus does not exist in the first place. These figures, elaborated by Ryan Bifulco and I, are rather self-explanatory. ARA, compared to Kroger, is overcharging us on the average by more than 40%. Now, I don't know about you, but I certainly don't like this, and I want to change it. The question now is, how? I want to share with you my opinion, but let me go ahead first and tell you what I think would not work. Number one, complaining to ARA, filling out those "how are we doing" forms. It's like complaining about the theft to the thief. Second, asking for receipts, trying to make everybody more price conscious. This would not work because, as the survey shows, 96% of the times, the meal plan is entirely financed by the student's parents, and therefore, the student does not have a very high incentive to reduce the expenses. We could have a policy, on the other hand, so that all the detailed bills from ARA are sent home to the parents who are paying for them. But this policy would face a strong opposition from the students themselves, who would never accept such a close monitoring on their expenditures. The third potential solution, which I think would not work, would be substituting ARA with another company. Given these circumstances, we would only probably end up with a new name for the same old problem. And now, let me tell you what I'm sure would work. Opening up the campus to competition. Better services are where competition is higher, no question about that. I've been to Berklee College of Music, downtown Boston, surrounded by restaurants and food stores for one semester in 1992, and the food service was just excellent. You only had to pay $4 to be admitted to the dining hall, and then you could have as much as you wanted, and you had this huge, rich buffet with everything from pasta to ice cream, from steaks to vegetarian entrees, and you could have as much as you wanted with no limits. But even here in North Carolina, things are different at other universities. Chapel Hill, for instance, is located right in front of Franklin Street, where there are a lot of small restaurants, and the prices for the university's services, food services, are much more competitive than here. I've heard from a friend of mine who studies there. And even Duke, our big rival, offers a much better deal. Did you know that with their meal card, they can order food from most stores downtown Durham? It would take so little to have good food service here at Wake Forest too. It would be sufficient, for instance, to have the Pit and Benson Center run by two different companies competing with each other. And I'm sure we would all see amazing improvements. Let's try to imagine, if you would, going to the Pit and finding efficient, prompt service, better quality, and competitive prices. And the same thing in Benson. No more waiting in line because they ran out of trays and silverware. I wondered, don't we give them enough money to buy silverware and trays in sufficient quantity? No more extra charge for one tiny spoonful of sauce. No more having to weigh fruit and salads and having to pay $5 for a 24-carat lettuce. At last, we would no longer be vulnerable victims, but free and voluntary customers. It's evident to me that competition is the most effective solution because it directly removes ARA's monopoly on campus, which is the main reason why the problem exists. But words are never enough. We need to do something. What I want you to do after my speech, much more than remembering the words, is stop complaining to ARA about ARA. It's absolutely no use. It would be much better to publish all the comments that you have in the All Gold and Black, the college newspaper. And then the most important thing that I want you to do is write a letter to Dean Muller, the dean of the college, explaining the situation and asking for at least one alternative food company other than ARA. Because let me tell you one last time, competition is the single most effective and direct weapon that we have as customers to protect our interests and to put an end to this slow, continuous, and intolerable daily rip-off.